What's up, everybody? It's your guy GC. Once again, welcome back to No Jobbers Allowed. So, clearly, last night's episode of Dynamite was very newsworthy. A lot of buzz, a lot of discussion. The big thing that everybody is talking about is MJF's promo. And I've heard some people call this this generation's pipe bomb. This was MJF's pipe bomb. I'm not going to call it that because that promo was so great. It deserves to stand on its own. And quite frankly, I think it's better than the pipe bomb. So no, that was not MJF's pipe bomb. CM Punk had the pipe bomb. Just like Dusty Rhodes had Hard Times. Stone Cold had Austin 316. Ric Flair had the 92 Royal Rumble promo. Nobody called CM Punk's pipe bomb any of those. So I'm not going to diminish MJF's promo, which was excellent, by referring to it as his pipe bomb. So the name I'm going to give it is actually going to be MJF in Los Angeles, because this was AEW's first time in LA, and what we saw from MJF was further proof that as a promo, he's an all-time great already. You could stack that promo last night up against any promo in the history of wrestling. And in my 30 plus years of being a wrestling fan, it is by far one of the best promos that I have ever heard. The emotion, the believability, the delivery. We already know that MJF is an excellent promo, right? Like this isn't news. He's one of the best talkers ever. There's no better promo than him right now in professional wrestling. There's no better heel than MJF right now in professional wrestling. When you think about that promo from last night, just think about the things that MJF addressed. MJF addressed Tony Khan, the influx of former WWE talent into AEW, which is a big topic of discussion. The fickle nature of fans, how they will cheer a certain wrestler or compliment a certain wrestler based on who their opponent is or what their booking is, and then boo them or be negative about them in other situations. He pretty much addressed a lot of, the social media discussions that go on wrestling Twitter, whether it's the tribalism, all of those rumors and reports about him not being happy, Tony Khan's treatment of ex-WWE stars compared to the quote AEW originals, the talent that has been there since the beginning of the AEW 3 years ago, starting at Double or Nothing. Excellent promo. I mean, whenever you have a heel who is as dastardly and unabashedly just a bad guy as MJF is, with the things that he said, the things that he's done, whenever that guy, through his words and his words alone, can become a sympathetic figure in any kind of way, when that is the mark of a great promo. When MJF spoke about how a lot of the guys who Tony Khan has signed, and again, we don't know the nature of any contracts. I personally don't know how much money MJF is getting paid, as opposed to, say, a Malachi Black or a Swerve or a Keith Lee, because my assumption is those contracts for MJF was signed when the company was less profitable than it is now. I mean, they hadn't wrestled a show or sold any pay-per-view, so I'm assuming the contract that MJF signed probably is a lot less than the contract of a Moxley or a Punk or a Danielson. So for him to, go into detail like that, for him to have that kind of fire and to make a lot of salient points in his promos. You know, MJF, if he signed a contract in what 2019 for whatever amount of money he signed that contract for, I think it's safe to say that he's probably outperformed that contract. If MJF was a quarterback or a point guard or a center fielder, and let's say that was his rookie deal, by year three, with the work MJF has done, with the feuds he's been in, he has outperformed that contract and would warrant a bump in pay based on what other people are getting paid. So to let's just break down the things that he spoke about. Now, not everything MJF spoke about I agreed with and I felt was true, but a lot of the things that he said was fact. And some of the stuff again with the pay is unknown. So, first thing he talked about was the fact that in great heel work, he talked about how nobody in the locker room can lace his boots, and yet he's seen guys be elevated ahead of him. Um, that's debatable. MJF is a solid wrestler in ring. I would not equate him. I wouldn't put him on the same level as a Bryan Danielson or a Kenny Omega or an Adam Cole in ring. All around game, one of the best in the business. He's the best, like I said at the beginning of the video. He's the best promo out. But he talked about how the influx of the ex-WWE guys and how they have been treated better than MJF has been treated. And again, this is a man who I think AEW has treated MJF well. He doesn't get beat often. Um, the people who beat him, now again, he's had wins over a lot of these people as well. But if you look at lost to Jericho, lost to Punk, lost to Moxley in his title match, and of course outside the losses to Shawn Dean, he has been beaten by a lot of the ex-WWE guys, but so has a lot of the AEW roster. Um, so I don't believe he's been mistreated. I think he's been made to be a big deal. I think the only AEW original within the first 3 years that has really been pushed to that main event level was the guy that I believe that the plan was to kind of build around him when AEW first started, which was Hangman Page. So I think MJF has been treated well. I think he's been presented well. He's done great heel work. He has big wins on Dynamite and on pay-per-views. But again, he's fallen short of being in that upper crust, being a mainstay in that main event picture. So, he can definitely make a gripe about that. Like, he beat Punk on Dynamite, beat Punk in Chicago, still gave Punk his first loss, but at Revolution, Punk took the win. He had wins over Jericho, but then at All Out, Jericho ultimately got the win. And then in the Punk situation, it could sting him even more because that is what ultimately led to Punk kind of catapulting into the title picture, which got him the title match at Double or Nothing, which he subsequently won. So I was of the belief, I've been a big fan of MJF since I first saw him at MLW. The Kid is special. The fact that he still observes kayfabe in this day and age when the wrestling business has been pretty much exposed heavily is a beautiful thing to see. He rarely ever breaks character, whether he's doing a fan festival or a convention or a promo or reality TV, MJF is always in character. And the fact that his parents have also gotten on board, his mom, and the things that she's posted on social media and the signs, just beautiful, beautiful piece of work. Really old school. Um, so don't believe that MJF has been mistreated, so to speak. But could he have been treated better? Sure. Brian Danielson has had two title matches since he debuted at All Out. To my knowledge, MJF just had the one title match, which he subsequently lost to Moxley. So if this is something that he's looking at as a barometer of to say, hey, I've been here from the beginning, I helped build the company up, I'm the best heel that you have, I'm the best character that you have, why haven't I been given the opportunities if some of these ex-WWE guys have come in? It's a legitimate gripe. Um, Next point that he made when he was speaking, and he addressed that some fans were booing him, some fans were cheering him. And he asked those people who were cheering him, where were you guys at when you were calling me unprofessional and speaking negative about all the reports we were hearing over the weekend about him missing the Fan Fest, about the reports that a flight had been booked for him out of Las Vegas on Saturday. Again, great point. Wrestling fans tend to, a lot of them tend to be fickle. There's a lot of people out there who did jump to the conclusion that what was being reported about MJF was true without ever, questioning what could be going on backstage with MJF. Is there something that could have facilitated him missing the Fan Fest? As far as him booking the flight, or the reports that the flight was booked out of Vegas, did MJF even book it? Was it real to begin with? So he's definitely right and makes a valid point about a subset of wrestling fans who are so quick to jump from one end of the spectrum to the next on the same talent. Talk about somebody that they're not a fan of, it's a great promo. Talk about somebody that they are a fan of, it's a bad promo. So really great job of addressing that. And again, very valid point from MJF in that promo. But the biggest thing that I think elevated that promo was his attack on Tony Khan. When he said that Tony Khan is pretty much the owner, to just paraphrase, pretty much the owner, president, founder of AEW, but he should really be sitting on the other side of the guardrail because he's pretty much a glorified fan. And then to call him a mark, wow. I mean, not even Punk didn't even go that far with Vince McMahon. And again, this is something that has been a big criticism of Tony Khan. It's something that a lot of people who are critics of Tony Khan, from the way that he handles things on social media to the way that he books. I personally am a fan of Tony Khan. I think it's great to have somebody in the wrestling business to provide a fresh perspective, who isn't jaded, who isn't just trying to do things like Vince McMahon does them and try to be a version of WWE or WWE light. So I think it's refreshing. But the things that he talked about with Tony Khan, the way that he spoke about him, asking him, hey, why aren't I being treated better? Why aren't I one of your guys? Would I be treated better if I was from the WWE? Because it seems like these guys come in and they get the red carpet rolled out for them. Again, excellent. The passion, like I said, the emotion, cutting his mic off. Again, calling Tony Khan a mark. Great stuff. One of the best promos I've ever seen. Personally, I rank that ahead of the pipe bomb. Um, so I think MJF is definitely the best the best talker in the wrestling business today. He's an all time great. He's the best heel going, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go with him now because they just took his merchandise down off Shop AEW. Um, so if they're going to play this angle where he's going to be suspended or he's being punished, we may be looking at a situation to where MJF, the man who has said terrible things about Darby Allin's uncle, Brian Pillman Jr.'s mother, rest in peace to Brian Pillman Jr.'s mom, and condolences and prayers out to their family as they deal with that loss. Is it possible that this guy, MJF, could become a babyface when he shows back up on AEW? Because I believe the cheers are going to come. And then what do you do with a heel MJF who, without a doubt, is going to continue to do heel things to get fans to hate him? When the fans started to applaud him and get on his side last night, he was quick to insult them and do things that would get fans to boo him, the ones who were clapping. But whenever he shows back up, he is going, I believe, is going to get more cheers than boos as a result of that promo he cut last night. So we're going to be looking at an interesting next few months with what comes of MJF now that he's cut that great promo, all-time great promo that he cut. And then how does that relate to Punk now being champion and Punk still being a face? Because if you look at their match history, a rubber match is needed there. MJF won the first one, Punk won the second one. Rubber match is needed, Punk is still the champion. Do we get a MJF versus CM Punk again in Chicago for all the marbles at All Out in September? Time will tell. So those are my thoughts on the MJF promo. Again, I thought it was an all-time great promo. I'm not going to call it the pipe bomb. I understand that people are calling it the pipe bomb are doing so in a complimentary fashion. But to me, it was so much more than that. Such a different promo. And I think it is, in my opinion, top 5 of all the promos I've seen since I've been a wrestling fan. So let me know what you guys think. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.